What's up, Otaku? It's your tour guide here. Just let's see here. Got some messages up. Looks like the chat's going. No one's in the chat yet. I hope you guys had a good week. It's start of the weekend, and yeah, it was just a typical work week for me. Next week's going to be a little bit quieter with the holidays coming up. Going to use that time to get caught up on get a head start on some projects for the new year at work. Of course, we've got a busy weekend this weekend. We're meeting up with friends tomorrow and Sunday. It'll be pretty hectic as the holidays approach, and got most of our Hollywood, Christmas shopping done, and we're just waiting on the big day. It's going to be my son's his third Christmas, and they just get better and better each year. So looking forward to seeing his reaction when he gets all his presents. With that being said, yeah, it's been a slow week in terms of comics. Well, I shouldn't say that, but for those of you who saw my live broadcast on Comic Book Day this week, you'll see that I picked up 3 Spawn Batman books, 3 covers. Go and check that out if you haven't seen it yet. I'm really happy with my cover pickups. One is right here. Just love that cover. I'll go ahead and show it off again. Here we go. This one is the Barnes and Nobles. It's the Barnes and Nobles exclusive edition. It's a very dark cover, so it's hard to make out. Like, it's hard to make out Batman and Spawn there, but they're there. I guess you just have to have it kind of up close. I guess right there, that might be a good angle. You can kind of see. It's still dark. Very hard to make. It's a great cover. Beautiful cover. Love it. I've been kind of watching people pick up their Spawn Batman books, or people do some kind of video on it, whether they're reviewing the book or they're just showing off what covers they picked up. And it's been fun to watch those. So I think there's a lot of, as always with a highly anticipated book, there's a little bit of FOMO associated with it, and so it looks like there are a lot of copies available. So I wouldn't go too crazy with the FOMO. I see like people, picking up all these I'm sure you'll be able to sell them, no problem. But at some point, I would imagine you can probably pick them up for less than their cover price at some point, because there's just a lot of copies, especially in the A cover, right? The A cover seems to have just everybody has that one. I got my A cover through the preview, so I got a preview sort of comic, the monthly preview, and where they have that great Capullo cover on it. I got that one. That kind of satisfied the itch not to get the standard cover, so I focused on the variants this time around, and really happy with my purchases. All right, today's video is simply put the top 10 signature pickups in 2022. We've been really fortunate. I've been finding lots of signature books when I'm digging through boxes. And that's surprising because normally, if for a collector like me, if I have a signature book, I would I wouldn't mix it in with my regular books. And I don't know what possessed certain collectors to sell off. I can understand selling off a collection, but to sell off a signature book within that collection just to me seems um, it seems odd. I can understand like saying off a collection, but like a signature book, if you're a fan of that person, maybe not, maybe you got them through you know through a different collection or something. Maybe it doesn't mean anything to you in terms of the signature. If that's the case, then that's fine. But if for me, like as much as I love all the books in my collection, there are certain books that I prioritize as like favorites, and they're definitely my signature books um, by Jim Lee. Um, any signature book really is just sort of a thing. Of signature on a book um, gives it a little bit more. Well, gives it a lot more value, and especially if you're a fan of that artist, right? Because it's kind of like having not like an original. I'm obviously original art would be the most ideal thing to have in your collection by an artist you like. But the next best thing is like either a sketch or a signature, right? It kind of validates that piece of art, even though it's a reprint of or a recreation of that um, original work. Having the signature there just kind of validates the the work, uh, sort of um, a personalized, real connection that the person was there signing the book. It's sort of evidence that um, that artist had had contact with you or engaged with you in that sense. But unfortunately, like these signature books that I have, I did not go out and get the signatures themselves. So that's what's confounding about finding signature books in these collections. It's like, man, wouldn't you want to hang on to that memory or that I guess moment where you got the book signed? That's why these two books, actually I had three books, but these three books where I met Jim Lee and I got the signatures, that'll be a memory for me, or that'll be a moment for me that I'll cherish. And I hope to have more of those kinds of um, interactions with Jim down the road. Hopefully can get more books signed, but um, yeah, it's just um, it's just curious to me. It's curious that I'd find signature books at all, especially at like a place like Half Price Books or Long Box at my LCS. They're just odd places to find these things. Um, but nonetheless, I actually picked up exactly 10 signature books this year. So everything I show you in my collection, I either picked up in a long box or I bought um, off of like eBay or Mercari. And we'll go through and um, I'll outline where and how I picked it up. And I guess we'll start with numbers 10 and 9 in my collection were on this list. And that is, which one should I start with here? I guess I'll start with what I picked up first. This is Justice League #1. Great cover there by Jim Cheung. And I mentioned many a time that Jim Cheung is an artist that he's not someone I was aware of when I got into collecting. He was not around when I was collecting. He kind of emerged after I had left collecting. But as I got back in, I realized, man, this guy Jim Chung, he's put out a lot of great artwork, uh, and he's really an amazing artist. And this is a great sort of indication of like how good of an artist he is. Like he's got the Justice League flying out on the cover there, and it's signed by Jim Chung, as you can see in the corner there. It's made out to a dude named CJ. Now my initials are BK, and CJ. It's very similar, like very close. It's you're just off by one letter, BK and CJ. And I just found that interesting. Like when I my concept of unmyeong, that these encounters are not random. Unmyeong implies that that there's it's a path, right? It's not completely random. Unmyeong is a little bit of like you were destined. It was your fate to have crossed paths with this, and that maybe it's a little bit of superstition on my part, but the CJ part, this guy CJ, I don't know what caused him to sell these books, but it just felt like like it was. I was destined to find this dude's comments. I'm hoping to find more of CJ's stuff. But anyway, he had another book which I picked up. This is a Deceased #1, and it even has a message here, CJ. And this was signed by Tom Taylor, who wrote the book. So yeah, we have a great cover and a great cover signature artist there, and then we have a great writing signature artist there. Both cool covers. Great Capullo cover right there. Amazing piece of artwork, and then we got Jim Chung cover right there. So, I mean, thanks CJ. I'm going to take care of your books. Don't worry. And maybe someday we'll meet. Maybe I'll run into you at a Comic-Con or something, and we'll strike up a conversation, and you tell me your name. And if it starts with like C, I'll say, hey, wait, what's your last name? If it starts with a J, I'll say, wait, did you have signature books, CJ? And who knows? That may very well happen. We may run across, our paths may cross at some point. Okay, moving on. We've got this. This is just an incredible book. Now, I purchased a lot of Jim Lee variant covers, and I think it was like a lot of 5 or 6 books, and it had a signature book in it. But really, I was getting the books for just the Jim Lee covers on these. So, Jim Lee did a series of Justice League covers, which I got. And this was the only signature book in there, but it's a signature book by Scott Snyder on Justice League #10 is this great variant of Aquaman with his Triton, and sort of like the more classic looking Aquaman with his beard and everything. So just I thought it was just a great signature there. Loving that book. All right, we're down to, let's see, 10, 9, 8. We're down to 7 now. And I got to tell you that the last 7 books, or I should say the last 6 books are real surprising finds. But let's start here at number 7. We've got, this is a book by, or it's a cover by Kevin Maguire. It's a homage to the Exorcist movie poster. Yeah. Justice League number 27, Kevin Maguire cover. And it's signed by Kevin Maguire. Now, this one, you'll never believe it, but we found this for 25 cents at Jeff's, sitting in his long box. And Jeff is usually on top of his inventory, but for whatever reasons, I guess, there's so many books in long boxes. It's really hard to kind of go through all of them. So he just probably flipped through for the keys, probably neglected to see there was a scribble here, and just left it in the long box. I mean, this is not that valuable of a book, but it is a key. It is an homage cover, movie homage cover, and again, it's a signature book. Now, I recently went on a comic book, went to the comic shop with Naman Hyung, aka Comic Book Worm. Comic Book Worm and I went to Jeff's, and we were digging and looking through the 25-cent bins. And Jeff, I looked through the Justice League stuff, and Jeff had the number one. I was looking to pick that number one up. And then I look at the price. I was like, oh, that's kind of high for the price. It was like he was selling it for $10, or had it priced for $10. But, at Jeff's, he has it priced, and then he takes another 50% off. So it was priced for $10, which meant it was selling for $5. And I was like, $5, okay, that's kind of reasonable. And then I looked at it, and what do I see? I see Kevin Maguire's signature on it. And I said, no way. And so I got it, and I took it up because I thought maybe Jeff knew that it was a signed book and he just had it priced for $5, maybe. But I went up, and Jeff saw the book. He's like, oh, this is a signature book. And he's like, he wanted to charge me 10 for it, but I said, well, this was there 50% off, it should be 5. And he's like, all right, I'll give it to you for 5. And you could tell he was reluctant to do it because he didn't know it was signed. Really, he probably would, this book, if he knew it was signed, he probably would have sold it for more. But I was fortunate. And, this is what I love about Jeff's place. He doesn't reprice things at the counter. If he prides himself on being on top of his inventory, and if something like this slips through the cracks, it's on him. It's on him, right? If you find like $100 book in the quarter bins, it's on him that he missed it. So that's what I love about going to Jeff's, because you can find those real gems in the quarter bins. As diligent as you can be in terms of being on top of the inventory, you're gonna miss. There's so many hundreds and thousands of books because he's got a huge stock of back issue bins. Occasionally you'll find something, and generally he has just great prices to begin with. You'll find things in his regular price. It was 50% off bins. You'll find real bargains. Just go back and look at some of the hauls I brought in. Whenever I go to Jeff's, I'll tell you, hey man, I got this for half off and whatever, and it's usually a really good price. I picked up so much good stuff. And this one, man, this could have easily been higher on the list. Beautiful cover there by Kevin Maguire. This is going to be, I think, a key at some point, because I think we're looking at this iteration, these characters come into the James Gunn DCU. I really think you're going to see this particular run of Justice League come to the. I mean, that's a great cast right there. For the most part. Blue Beetle is going to be getting his own series soon, although it's not the original Blue Beetle. Gardner, is it? It's not the original. It's Jaime Reyes is going to be introduced as the Blue Beetle, but at some point, whether it's Jaime Reyes or whether it's the original, you're going to see Blue Beetle and possibly this iteration of this team. So really happy with that pickup. That was just amazing. All right, and this book, I got this for a really amazing price, in my opinion. I picked this up for either $20 or $30. I think it was closer to 20. With shipping and everything, ended up maybe being. I think I got it for like 24. With shipping and everything, ended up being like 30. But it's this great Daredevil cover here, Daredevil 241. This issue is actually, the interior is Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane did the interiors for this one. And signed by the legendary Mike Zeck on the legendary cover, Daredevil cover. That's just a beautiful Daredevil cover. So this book, man, when I saw this and I got it and I finally ordered it and it arrived, and I mean, it's slab worthy. The grade is really high. Just a beautiful book. So I'm thinking of making all these submissions, to maybe submitting some books to CBCS in the coming year, and at least getting these two. These two are definitely worthy of getting slabbed, I think. They're just great books. This next one was a gift from Fanboy Prime. Prime, man, I still floors me whenever I look at this, that I have this in my collection, and it's a Dan Jurgens signature, 42 out of 1750 signatures on this amazing miniseries, Superman Doomsday miniseries, book 1, Unturned Prey. Great cover there by Jurgens as well. Just absolutely love it. Great cover, great signature. Absolutely cherished book. Thanks again, Prime. And this next one is also one I just couldn't believe was sitting there in the bin at Half Price Books. And it's a big one. We got news of Tim Sale's passing this year. We lost a lot of great legendary figures in comic books. Neil Adams, George Perez, Tim Sale, Kevin Conway, Carlos Pacheco. I mean, these are just a few of the names that are coming to me at the top of my head. There are obviously more. But anyway, it was, we gotten the news Tim Sale had passed, and Tim Sale lived here in the Pacific Northwest. He actually lived in the Seattle area. He was a Mariners fan. Took part regularly in the Emerald City Comic Con. And yeah, his passing it was noteworthy. And right around the time of his passing, again, Eun-Young struck me again, and we were able to pick up this double signature book. Now, this was signed on October 16th by both gentlemen. It was dated of 1994, which is right before October of 1994. And this obviously was released around Halloween. And these two guys were going around doing they're old school. 94, this is what you did. You went to a comic shop, the book dropped, and you were just signing them for fans. And so some fan got a double signature, Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, Batman, Batman Madness, Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween special. These two would hook up again a year later and put out one of the best one of the best Batman books, The Long Halloween. And these guys just, double signature at the time, their first collaboration, first book drop together. Very special, almost historic book, right? These two guys would go on to be, just two of the best in the industry at what they do. So that was a big pickup. All right, well, we've got, let's see here, two more books. And did I get through my books that quickly? I guess I did. Wow. This one I've covered already when we did our Neal Adams pickups. And I want to give a special shout out to Silver Age, Bronze Babe, Silver-haired Bronze Age Babe. Her name is a mouthful, but silver-haired Bronze Age Babe. She is sending me something in the mail, and I don't know what it is, but it is arriving on Monday, and I anticipate it's something related to Neal Adams, because after I posted that Neal Adams, she had posted a comment, and of course she and I just share a love and appreciation for Neal. But she's been, again, collecting has a much larger collection than I do. She's been really focused on collecting a lot of the Superman books that he's done, and her Neal collection is pretty spectacular. So she's been doing it longer than I have, is kind of the point. And again, I just started picking up Neal Adams books really this year, but in the short span of 12 months, we're able to pick up quite a few number of Neal Adams books, some significant ones as well. And we're looking to do more of the same in the coming year. And about a month ago, I was at Half Price Books just digging, and I found this Black Panther cover here. As I was flipping, I was like, oh, Black Panther #1. And it was a variant edition, so I kind of pulled it out, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did pull it out, because at the bottom there you can see this book. It's a Neal Adams signature book, signed book by Neal Adams. And I've always wanted a Neal Adams signature book. But I mean, you'd have to pay upwards, $100, if not more, depending on the book, but if not more, for a signature book by Neal. And these are not easy books to get. People kind of bought them all up this year. People who want Neil in the collection, um, and these are things that are pretty soon aren't going to be coming to market. At some point, they're going to fall. The pieces are going to fall where they do, and at that point, you're going to have a bunch of collectors who just hang on to that Neil signature, and you're just not going to get access to it anymore. Hey, Agu, what's up? Right? It's one of those things like people are going to shell out money for the Neil signature. Once they have it in their collection, it's not going anywhere. So these Neil books, signature books, are going to get kind of like this, like the Stan books too. Initially you saw a lot of Stan Lee signature books out there on the market. People were selling them, and now you're seeing less and less of them. Although there are still a lot of Stan Lee signature books, there'll always, I guess, be some Stan Lee signature books out there that someone's going to sell, but definitely not the number of signature books you saw right around the time of his passing. So I would imagine Neil's books are not as are fewer and are fewer and farther between than Stan's books, and you know, I just really am fortunate to pick this up. It's one of those things I would love to buy a Neil Adams book. It's just I can't afford it. I can't even afford a lot of the Neil Adams keys, let alone a signature book. But to have one come into my possession, just straight Unmyung, right? Just digging through the box and just running across it. This epitomizes Unmyung in my opinion. Because I was just kind of praying and hoping, oh man, I hope not that I'd find it in a long box for, what is it? I paid $2.50 for this book. I would have never imagined that would have happened in my wildest dreams. But I was hoping, maybe to find something online, something around $30, $40, $50 range. It wouldn't matter what the book was. It could have been something like a book, more of his recent stuff or something, just something maybe not even worth all that much. But if the signature was on there and it was around $30, $40, $50, that was like the situation I'm always on the lookout for. Unfortunately, those things just don't come up at that price. They're usually a lot more. But yeah, pick it up for $2.50, a Neil signed book, and a great cover to boot. Black Panther key issue. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much. You could chalk this up as like one of the finds of the year, if not the find of the year. But I'm going to give my top signature book to this one, and this one we did pay a pretty penny for. This one cost me. It cost me $100. With shipping and everything, it ended up being about $120 for this book, and I think it's something money well spent, because it is a Stan Lee and Jim Lee signed book. And something I kind of wanted in my collection. I wanted, first of all, I mean, this is just a perfect storm of everything I wanted in a book, in a signed book. I wanted a Stan Lee signature book. I wanted a Stan Lee and Jim Lee dual signed book. I wanted a Jim Lee signed X-Men, which I have as my second copy. But what's better than a Jim Lee signed X-Men with the Stan signature there, a dual signed with a Psylocke cover to boot? So this one is very like when I saw this um, and for the price it was selling at, I was like, wow, dual side book, X-Men Key, the Two Legends. I mean, like take my money. So this one we picked up, paid about 110, 120 for it. Money. I look at it as a real like savvy pickup on my part. I don't feel like I overpaid for this at all. I definitely underpaid, if anything, for a book that'll always stay in my collection. All right. So what you been up to, Agu? How was your week? You know, I was talking to Nam Yeon Young, and I think on our next haul, we'd like you to join. We can, if you're down, we can go grab like an early breakfast or brunch, and then head over to the comic book shops as right when they open and do some digging. I don't know exactly where you are, but I think you mentioned you were in Linwood, right? So there are a lot of good comic book shops over there in that area, Shoreline, Linwood area. And I think we talked about going to Milky Comics. And so if you're down to join us, yeah, that'd be great. You could hook up there and shoot some videos and just, I guess we could talk to you about, your collection. So I think we're going to probably want to connect with you for our collector, meet the collector series. Great. We'll feature you on our Meet the Collector series, and then we'll actually meet up and do some comic book hunting. So yeah, that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. All right, so that's my top 10 signature books, and hope you again have a great weekend this weekend, and great holidays as they come up. I do have a CGC unboxing coming up. I'm going to be getting 6 books, and we'll go over what those books and grades are in an upcoming video. I may get those books as early as tomorrow, possibly Monday, which is so. If we get, I know I'm expecting silver-haired Bronze Age babes books on Monday. So if we kind of get everything around Monday, we'll go ahead and do the unboxing, all the unboxings that I think Monday is a good day to go live. I think, yeah. It won't be too busy at work, so get my work finished, come home, put the kid to bed, and go live and unbox everything. So it should be a fun time. So look out for that. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.